Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second webinar of our series together with FERDs, honoring the FERDs List honorees. My name is Salvatore Nigro, and I am the CEO of Junior Achievement Europe. As you already know, Junior Achievement Europe is the leading organization for entrepreneurship, work readiness, and financial literacy in Europe, reaching every year over 4 million young people in 40 European countries. We do that thanks to business volunteers. We do that thanks to the teachers that are working in over 50,000 educational institutions. I want to thank FERD and Jon Andersen, who I'll give the floor in very few seconds, for being really a role model for all our young people and for the Junior Achievement alumni. In a moment in which we are seeing, again, closures, lockdown, economic activities that are affected by the different closures, and where now more than ever there is a need of hope for the young people who has been hit again by this crisis. Role models are important, and that's why I'm so proud of this initiative of FERDs with Junior Achievement of Europe, because we are really honoring those that with determination, resilience, have gone through the Junior Achievement programs and have then supported also the community. So the title of this webinar is very much in that line. How can we foster more entrepreneur and boost our economic recovery? We need to think, and we need to think about it now, because after the crisis, we will need a new generation of entrepreneurs who will boost our economy. Without further ado, let me give the virtual floor, in this case, to Jon Andersen. Jon, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Salvatore. Thank you for that nice introduction. Well, as some of you know, I've been involved with JA since 2003, and I've been on one board or the other, sometimes on more than one board. Today I'm on the board of JA Europe. And the reason why we launched FERDs List is that one of the insights that I had was that if you give new people, or if you give people a new possibility, a new opportunity, and you give them the confidence and the skills to act on that, then they will really make some very startling choices for themselves, for their communities, their families, companies, and countries indeed. And this is actually what I think JA does with all its programs. And so we are in a very sort of special and fortunate position here to have a very large number of alumni who've gone through JA programs, mostly in Europe, but we also have some international nominees this year. And what we wanted to do was really put forward the evidence that if you have an opportunity, if you're given an entrepreneurial experience in school, it will have an impact. And there's no better way to show that impact than actually showing the people who have then been nominated from all around Europe and parts of the world. And I have selected 8 of them this year. The number varied between 6 and 10, maybe more. Last year there was 100% or 100-year anniversary for JA, so we had even more international participants then. But these people are a very, I would call it, unusual mix of both having entrepreneurial skills, but also having leadership skills, because it's very hard to become a successful entrepreneur without actually leading anything. So what we're gonna it's not really about only starting companies, it's about also reinventing old ones, as I think some people will show here today. So, as Salvatore said, we got a daunting task ahead of us, revigorating economies, businesses, communities, not only waiting for the crisis to end, but actually to act upon the crisis to some extent as I wouldn't call it an opportunity, but I would call it an urgency to act now. Without further ado, we of course would not let a little pandemic ruin the celebrating all the great nominees of this year, and therefore we have had already one seminar, one webinar some weeks ago with 3 other honorees, and this time we have another 3 plus an alumni or a previous honoree. So today we had with us Jennifer Crawley from the UK, Karoli from Estonia, and Charles Kim from the United States. And we also have one previous honoree, Andrzej Trusinski from Poland. So welcome everyone. And now let's get introduced to the 3 distinguished honorees from this year. Here comes some videos.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Crawley and I'm the UK Head of Business Management for Small Business Banking for HSBC. So I've been involved with Young Enterprise for over 30 years now and had such a journey. So was part of the company programme when I was at college, and then subsequently a few years after that moved and became a business advisor in the company programme as well. It's been such a learning curve, and I think probably at the beginning I didn't realise how much I'd learned. And I've taken those skills really throughout my career, and probably the main ones are problem solving, and really importantly to me, always knowing there's a solution to what you're going to do, and also ensuring that you can do anything that you want to do as well. They're probably the main things that I collected along my way from the company programme. I'm really, really proud to have been nominated in the first instance for the FERD award, and even more honoured and privileged that I am also shortlisted as well. And I hope what that will also do is continue for me to be an ambassador for Young Enterprise. The skills that the young people learn along the way are skills that I think are invaluable, and I've seen that firsthand during the company programme.
Hey, I'm Karoli, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Juvadical. My entrepreneurial journey started actually from high school, and I must say that Junior Achievement Young Enterprise probably changed the path of my life, because I had never thought of becoming an entrepreneur, but it was thanks to the student program where we had to create a company. I suddenly became the youngest inventor in the country and realized that my ideas can make a difference. And it was that where I decided that that's what I want to do with my life. So I have been an entrepreneur ever since. So thank you for that. Also, what it taught me today as a mother of a 7-year-old girl is that as people, it is our role to remind the kids around us that each and every one of them can change the world. So let's keep on changing, and let's keep on reminding. Thank you.
I'm grateful to be on the 2020 FERDs List. I didn't realize the impact junior achievement had on my professional life until years later. I joined the company program at age 15 in Northbrook, Illinois. It provided me with the fundamental building blocks to becoming a young entrepreneur. I started my own equity trading firm at age 27. What I learned in the company program, such as raising capital, issuing stock, accounting, marketing, operations, and winding down a company, are still relevant to me on a daily basis when making evaluations of different investment opportunities. JA has benefited me so much as an entrepreneur. My goal is to provide the same for young people around the world.
Okay, we're back. Let's start with you, Jennifer. As I was alluding to earlier, it's not only about starting up new businesses, it's about reinventing old ones. And indeed, you have a big role in doing just that. In your role as I think somebody needs to mute them. There seems to be some background noise somewhere. Yeah, let me pick that up again. So you interact mostly with small businesses. Now, how do you feel that they have been impacted by the current crisis? And how? What are you telling them? Based on your own experience, what should they do now?
So thank you for the question. No, absolutely. Specifically, I look after the small business customers within HSBC in the UK, but actually all of our customers in commercial banking in the UK have been affected. It really doesn't matter on the size at all. And I think if we look to perhaps what happened in the crisis in 2008, we did still see some changes in businesses and the phoenixes that came out of the 2008 crisis. We saw, a lot more professional services, more consultants who set up businesses. We saw a lot more online retailers appearing. And we also had at that time, I guess, what we call recession-proof businesses. So people couldn't afford perhaps to, buy a new car. So actually they've had it repaired instead. And I think this year and into next year, we'll start to see again those more phoenixes that come out of the flames. And we'll look to more social care companies online. More and more is going to be online, as I'm sure all of us are doing nowadays. And really importantly, cybercrime security. There's been a heightened increase in cybercrime during the pandemic, more than we've ever seen across banking in the UK. And that's definitely got to be something that we will focus on and also support our customers on, so then they're not hit by that. So it's not specifically, in answer to your question, are small business companies that have been affected. It's any businesses in the UK.
Right. So you mentioned the online part. Does that working from anywhere, working remotely, does it also have some possibilities built into it? For instance, we talked yesterday about women. Is this one way of reducing inequality or increasing opportunity? What do you see there? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's wider than that. I think it will give so much opportunity to everybody. So absolutely more opportunities to women, but also we people who have families who perhaps the male in the house is the house that looks after the children. It will give everyone an opportunity. If I think about HSBC in the UK, our head office is in Birmingham, and when we opened the building in Birmingham, we did have flexible But I guess at that time, we still wanted to see them at some point in Birmingham. Whereas now we've proved definitely in the last 8 months that we don't need to be in a building, even though we probably all would love to be together still. Absolutely prove that we can do everything and run the business, look after our customers, look after our colleagues virtually. So I think it opens an opportunity for everybody who perhaps have a demographic that they can't move from their local town or village. And actually the way we now work will give them that opportunity.
Great. Excellent. We'll get back to all of you once I go through the first round. And on to you, Karoli. Now, this topic I know is really close to your heart, boosting economies. I mean, that's what you do, right? So by injecting talent everywhere, and breaking down the borders, really. So, do you think that young Europeans are, sufficiently encouraged, like you were in school, to actually, dare to, to dream, to think about starting up even tech type of companies?
I do, because first of all, thank you, Johan. I think I have had the privilege of, in a way, seeing a transition, because when I was in Junior Achievement Young Enterprise student program, I was 16 years old, which was 20 years ago. And back then, young people were, it was hip to do a band, but it wasn't really hip to do a company. But now I think it was Bono who said that startups are the new bands. So in a way, I think we are in a very good place where, first of all, there's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit. There's a lot more digital knowledge, as well as if you look at the workforce, there's a huge trend that has happened in terms of how even talent thinks. I think today the talent is much more entrepreneurial, meaning that they want, there are different researches that show that, like, for example, Accenture did a survey on US graduates a few years ago, and graduates who have huge loans to pay, right? And the question was, what is the one most important thing for you when choosing your first job? And you would think that it's the, getting a good salary, steady job, because you have to pay back your loan. But no, 92% of them said that it has to make a difference. So in that sense, I think it's a really perfect time to be an entrepreneur, because you have people who want to take a risk and change the world with you, rather than being in a comfy ladder towards retirement. So I think we have a good ground for that. I'm not saying it's perfect. I think we still, like I said, also we still need to remind young people that they can actually, wherever they are coming from, change the world. But I do think that the ground is really good for entrepreneurs to just rise.
Great. And your business model is really built around, allowing companies to hire and attract people from all over the world, and then relocate them to wherever they are located themselves. But I mean, with this, in the current crisis, can you actually relocate people sort of digitally, in the sense that the companies can get access to your your population, you might say, regardless? So so how has this impacted you? How are you adapted to the current state of affairs?
Very good question. Thank you. So first of all, there's a lot of confusion because there's a lot of limitations for non-essential travel, which means that tourism, but work-related travel, the borders are open. So in that sense, of course, there's much more complexity, and we are building tech around immigration, which means that this year has brought us much more work. but I think there are a few different things what we're seeing. First of all, yes, there's a less impact for the employment-related travel, but there's a kind of what I predict that will happen after this pandemic is that there will be an explosion of digital nomads. So people working and traveling remotely. And why is that? Because, you know, there has been the rise of digital nomads already past years, but now suddenly there's millions of more people who just know that they can work remotely. They still have their dreams of travel, and their employers also know they can work remotely, which means that all of that combined, a lot more people will use that. And so what we are seeing from our company and is also that this is becoming managing the immigration for enterprises, basically managing the digital nomad workforce. So if let's say you have Facebook, who will have 5,000 people working remotely from different European countries, then Facebook would want them to be legally working there, not illegally working there. So I think what we're seeing is there will be a kind of a new type of immigration. And it's funny that how things sometimes, you said earlier also that, you know, entrepreneurs who start to build companies, but also change the countries. And one of the initiatives that we actually started 2 years ago that was now implemented in Estonia was the world's first digital nomad visa. So we basically creating a policy that exactly addresses this new type of workforce. And now we're seeing that was the best time to actually this to become effective, so to say, that other countries can use the example and modernize their policy, so to say. But yeah, definitely, what I tell my team throughout this pandemic, what I've said almost in every team meeting is that we have a very good change muscle. And I think thinking about the entrepreneurial journey is that, like you said earlier, that one thing is to start a company, but the main thing is to keep on standing up when you meet the obstacles. So basically the resilience, because, you know, it's really, really easy to go running outside when you have sunny weather, but it's when it's pouring rain and you will put your shoes on and still will go out running. That's where, you know, that's where I think the basically the hard part comes. And this journey past 20 years has been such a great training for the change muscle. So I'm really thankful for that.
Well, thanks for you for sharing that. Yeah, maybe the rest of us can pick up some advice and maybe some people from what you're saying here. So now let's move on to Charles. Thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you haven't stayed up all night watching the election news. So we'll keep on creating value regardless of that particular outcome. And I know you are. Charles is one of two honorees actually on this year's list from outside Europe. And as some of you know, we have a lot of people to choose from. So these are all special, but you're also special in the sense that you've done some very valuable work, not only for yourself but also for JA in the Virgin Islands, in the U.S. Virgin. Can you tell us a little bit more about the impact that you've seen that work has had?
First, I'd like to say I'm just honored to be here amongst everyone else. Is that and then addressing JA's impact on the Virgin Islands is that there was, prior to JA coming to the Virgin Islands in 2008, there was no such program, and then there was nothing in the schools teaching any financial literacy. It's what the kids are learning, just starting from the company program or some of the younger programs, is just really eye-opening for everyone there, and then including some of the parents. Is that for some of the parents, they're just like, they were amazed on what their children were teaching them. Is that in an island where it's mostly where industry is mostly tourism and jobs are mostly government based, is that just learning about the entrepreneurship that's possible was just really shocking to many of the children that were involved in the programs. And really, it's the what I got out of the company program when I was in high school was truly invaluable to me. Is that that was something that enabled me to start a business at 27, and in a field that's traditionally, let's say, dominated by much larger banks, hedge funds, and things of that nature. Is that the idea is just starting something small is difficult just because of the lack of scale. But what I learned in JA really was a fundamental base in knowing that you can start from raising shares at $2 and starting a company with $36. So I mean, that was a lot of encouragement from me, and then that was something that was always in my head, and that was part of the JA spirit, call it. So I mean that's something I truly want to give back to community of Virgin Islands, just all of the Caribbean, is that with so little you can have such a big impact when you're feeding people that are starving. Is that of all this knowledge, is that it's really great seeing such big returns.
Excellent. So, I mean, given the situation that we're in right now, that do you see any sort of extra or special desire to actually adopt or use the JA, different type of programs in schools? And what are you recommending for the school systems to actually do now?
I mean, one of the I want to say, like, one of the benefits or one of the saving graces of this of the COVID pandemic is that schools are all 100% online in the Virgin Islands. So adopting new programs from JA online has really taken off. Is that was something that over the years people were very hesitant in doing. But when you're forced to go from paper to digital, it makes the transition a lot easier. Is that a few of the things that we've been doing with JA and outside of JA is just encouraging other industries that are on island. Is that, for example, it was just different consulting companies that have popped up recently on just regulating or just helping the government with different federal funds that are out there and in different programs that are out there. Is that helping small businesses apply for small business loans, things of that nature is something that popped up with this pandemic, and it's just helping the youth think outside the box. And this is really, this is probably one of the most life-changing experiences for the youth in the Virgin Islands, and saying that the whole world can turn upside down on a dime. Is that people are used to just everyday living, and it's just really, you've got to prepare yourself and just have different options, and then realize that how drastically life can change in a matter of weeks.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's been some talk about those people who are now in school being kind of like a lost generation, in that they don't have the same type of educational experience that we did before the pandemic. But are you saying that some of the online nature of some of the JA courses can actually bridge that gap?
Absolutely, and then and people are a lot more open to the online format. Is that just certain things like college prep classes online? Is that just a scale that you can reach with one instructor and 80 students at once, when traditionally it's a much smaller class size of 10? Is that people are just a lot more open to that. Is that of course we're missing the touch and feel aspect, but the fundamentals that are learned, and then the scale that you can reach, and people that are open to it is a lot greater today than it was prior to the pandemic.
Yeah, good to hear. Okay, well, we'll see if we can circle back to the three of you. I just want to tag on one of the honorees from last year, Anjay, and I know you didn't have your introductory video here, but you're actually you're an architect, and being or at least you're running an architecture company. and there's and that may be a surprising link, for people between entrepreneurship and architecture. So how did that come about? What was your sort of take home or take with you type of values from your JA experience?
Thank you for that question. In the same time when I was prepping for my architecture studies, I was in high school and I joined the JA company program. And to answer your question, everything from this JA created what you can see behind me. So this big company that created a lot of projects, huge buildings, skyscrapers, aqua parks, and other dreams of our investors. It's all because of JA. First of all, in 2003, JA was an eye-opening thing for Polish people, because this program showed us that we can compete with the best. And that after winning the Polish championships, we went to London and saw other countries, saw other competitors, and saw that they are on the same level, that we can talk with them, and that we shouldn't have any complex about that we are post-Soviet countries. That mean a lot, and that changed my way of thinking. And then it turns into a cooperation with a German friends, and that's how we launched the architecture company that was in Germany and in Poland. And this cooperation lead to many huge projects. So thanks to it, now when I'm under 40, I made a lot of huge projects that most of my colleagues, they start building small houses in the same time. So a junior achievement show me the way. And first of all, thinking out of the box. So we are trying to be most innovative architecture company in Poland and trying to compete with European countries. I have here a small show. It's our 3D goals. We did it a couple of years ago, and now we are giving our client the possibility to walk with the goggles inside their future homes or future investments. And this way, even if we are under pandemic rules, we can show them our projects. They can talk with us what kind of changes we should do in their homes or in their dreams that we are fulfilling. So we are using this opportunity, I would say, because the crisis, to me, we started, actually, we are the business success of the last crisis. Because we started in 2009, so in the middle of the crisis, let's say, in the beginning. And IBM, General Electric, WhatsApp, those companies, just as us, started in a difficult moment in a world situation, and then look for new solutions and to give better quality to our clients. And what's is important, our clients usually in the moment that it's a good economy, they have some kind of relationship with other companies, and because of the crisis, they have to look for new solutions. They are trying to look if there is another way. And because we look out of the box, how to change the world, how to give them more with less, then we were able to succeed. So actually, the last crisis gave us a huge impact to create very modern, very futuristic buildings. Like one of our building is producing twice as much energy as it consumes, and that gave us a very good start in eco architecture. But also we are trying to digitize the architecture. So we are trying to bring the new technology to the architecture. And this is the link between junior achievement, what we learned so many years ago, and show us that actually this is something that we are giving to our clients. So this experience of junior achievement was incredible, and that's why we have achieved so much, and we can give people, because our projects, millions of people are using our projects, so we have this satisfaction that junior achievement help us, and I'm very grateful for that. And in the same time, I'm passing the torch forward to give joy to other people. So this is really great thing, and I think this junior achievement thing, it's good. It's 101 anniversary, it should be, right? So yes. Incredible. And also this is a product of the crisis 100 years ago. So let's say that crisis, it's not necessarily something bad. It sounds bad, but it gives a lot of opportunities, and we have to look for them.
Excellent. That's you'll be a good salesman and ambassador for JA, I hear. So of course I knew that from before, actually. But anyway, we did one. Since there's been some years since both you and I were in school. Have you seen changes in terms of what people are looking to do? I mean, are they more or less entrepreneurial? Are they more or less looking for, I don't know, safe jobs, or starting up companies, or joining perhaps smaller companies? Do you see any changes in what sort of people are, what they're looking for when they're coming out of school?
For sure, for the last few years, we could see this trend of looking for jobs in corporate environment, because it's safe, because it's giving a lot of money for the job. But actually, you're losing yourself in this situation. You're not the captain of your ship. And as I mentioned before, junior achievement gave me this opportunity to look for being my own captain. And I could see for the last few years that people, just as mentioned before, they want to make a change. And you can make a change when you're running by yourself and doing your own business. So basically, I can see a lot of people, especially in Poland, trying to look for their own companies and trying to make those startups because they are also this new bands that they are very trendy, and people want to do a difference because they can see Elon Musk and other people who made a big difference on our whole lives. So I think that this trend is going to be stronger, especially right now, because pandemic, what shows us that people, no matter where they live, they right now they have to work by internet, and they have to use this internet. So this is a great opportunity for people, no matter where they live. So it doesn't matter now if I'm an architect and I work in Poland, I can make a project to Belgium or United States. This is no difference because even a person from Belgium, they have to still work on internet. So I can see there a lot of possibilities, and I see the trend that the young people, they are looking for such opportunities. They want to do business by themselves on their own rules.
Great. Jennifer, let me just sort of quickly circle back to you. Based on what you heard now, of course, we got some pretty strong-minded entrepreneurs here. So how do you keep the entrepreneurial spirit going in a large bank? And how do you sort of, think outside that bank's box in order to help your startup clients, you might say?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess if I look at my journey, having worked for HSBC and scarily, I've worked for them for 32 years, and it's gone in an absolute heartbeat. And what I would say is that I have had every opportunity that an entrepreneur would have to actually create new opportunities, and that whether that be for customers or whether that be for colleagues. So maybe just give you some examples of things. So I know I made you laugh the other day when we were talking, and I'm not really a true banker. So there was at one stage which AJ may well have been. I may well have been working with him that I helped design and create how our customers see us now in our branches and our commercial centres. And we started it in the UK, and actually what you see now worldwide is exactly what myself and my team created probably about 15 years ago. So the look and feel of it. One thing we did do, which we didn't follow through with, which was very funny, was actually about whether we wanted a smell when people walk into banks. Exactly how we have smells when we walk into supermarkets. The first thing you can smell is fresh bread, and that's pumped from the back of the supermarket. But we didn't go with that. You'll be happy to know. So that was a different role. You know, I at the time when I first went into it, I didn't know what you know, a CAD drawing looked like, what it meant. But actually, I taught myself, and definitely in enterprises has given me that determination and those skills that make me able to do that, and that sort of challenge with anything. And then two other things that I'm super proud of along my journey, clearly other than Young Enterprise, but Young Enterprise does feature in both of these, is I created Pop-Up. So we have a huge amount of customers in the UK, and what I didn't feel we were doing was really showcasing them. So I came up with this idea that we would allow our customers to pop up in our branches and our centres across the UK. So we've been doing that now for over 4 years. Obviously this year we had to stop. We did it every quarter, and we had the most amazing stories, how our customers, businesses have changed. We had an amazing lady in one city that was a florist, but she was a commercial florist. So flowers for hotels, events, etc. And she put these beautiful displays in the window, and actually she completely changed the business model because she suddenly did domestic floristry. So completely changed. So I've got loads of stories I could tell you that came out of Pop-Up. And actually our Young Enterprise companies in the UK, so our JA companies in the UK, through the company programme, are invited to be part of Pop-Up during the year. And it's really great to see them. They get that experience of the sell to customers as well. And then finally, one that I am again really proud of, and I'm really pleased to say that Young Enterprise were with me on this as well, is I got the opportunity to create something called the Next Gen Fest, which was connected to the International Business Festival in Liverpool. And the patron of the whole festival was Prince William. And I did the youth part of it, and Prince William honoured us with his presence. And I was in the real bad books, if I'm quite honest with you, because he wouldn't leave. So we had these 10 fantastic Young Enterprise people, and he just kept asking them questions. And I was sort of getting the look from his security team, basically saying, you need to help him leave. He kept asking me questions, asking the young people questions about what did they learn, why it was so important. So yeah, I think I've had a fantastic journey with HSBC, and I've been allowed to have that entrepreneurial spirit within the bank in what I've done, and I've created some things that have benefited both our customers and our young people in the UK.
Great. Room or a reason to be hopeful then. So Karoli, you're really in contact with so many companies who are actually looking to recruit, or at least take on talent. So that in itself is positive, because I mean it's probably because they're growing in some sense or another. But Karoli, what do you think we can do really to boost an economic recovery? I mean, do you have any sort of besides starting up a lot of more companies, but do you have any sort of secret sauce that we can use here?
Yeah, well, it's a very big question. We have very short time, but I think there are a few different things in terms of hiring. It's very why there are so many companies hiring is because we are in the era of biggest talent shortage that humanity has ever seen, and it will go worse. By 2030. The talent shortage will cost the countries and companies $8.5 trillion. I had to actually check how many zeros it has. It's 12 zeros. So and only country like Japan will be missing 18 million people just to stay on the same level. So there's a huge talent shortage, which means that in order to as a company, in order to be in the global competition, you just have to keep on hiring and hire globally, right? But that's another thing. So in terms of talking what we could do, I think I would actually, coming from Estonia, which is a tiny country, but I think has had a great example of how a country can in a way act like a startup. And I think the whole huge privilege Estonia, why my headquarters, like even though we are in several different countries, my headquarters is still in Tallinn. People fly into Tallinn to help to build my vision. And the main reason for that is this is a country with an amazing user experience. So people don't have to waste time on the country. You can just focus on building your business. You can focus on building your family. And I think what I was really hoping, and I must say that I haven't seen that in too many countries, in few, but it was that this pandemic and the crisis will force the public sector to become more efficient. Because so I think one thing that we can, and I think that's something that we can all demand from our leaders of the, who are leading our countries, is to have a country where you don't have to waste time on a country. Like you should be able to have minimum, like basically you should have a country that doesn't interfere your life. And in Estonia, you can start a company 10 minutes online, you can go voting online. I can be in Japan in a hotel participating in elections, and you're seeing what's the craziness happening in the United States right now. I just told my team yesterday at our all hands meeting that I wish we could have given our voting system to Americans. Like there would be so much less trauma right now because everything is digital, it works, it's safe, and there's like just less drama.
So wiggle room in the United States. So it's just that's never going to, and no one's going to want that. Is that everyone needs to write their own narrative. So
I do remember though that Obama once said that when we started to build healthcare, what was the some kind of healthcare platform, we should have called Estonians. But I think this is one thing to demand, because like as entrepreneurs, as employees, like also I really like to hear your story, Jennifer. And what I always tell my team is also that even if you're not an entrepreneur, you can work as an entrepreneur. You should think like an entrepreneur. So all of that we can do, but I think what we should demand, and I hope there's a saying that we shouldn't waste a crisis, that I hope this crisis will help to make our governance more efficient and thus improve the user experience for us as entrepreneurs, as humans, as citizens.
Well, thank you. Well, Estonia is really, it's really the beacon when it comes to going digital. But Norway is not that far behind. Actually, we think we're pretty good. How about the Virgin Islands? I mean, we talked about the educational system, but do you see? I mean, you're in the asset management type of. So I mean, that is digital, right? But how do you sort of, how does private businesses help the rest of the Caribbean to go digital? And does entrepreneurship has anything to do with it?
Oh, absolutely. It's just where we are and where let's say lack of infrastructure, as infrastructure is coming in, is that we just had fiber optic cable put in less than 5 years ago. So it's just the digital capacities that are there is, call it, relatively new. So what's been happening is that once the connectivity was there, is that just opening up different fields, different industries that are able to come into the Virgin Islands. Is that we've got tech businesses that are coming in. Is that these are all things that were able to happen after the infrastructure is put in, and these are all businesses that are opening the eyes to students and opening the eyes of the people of the Virgin Islands. So really, it's just like where we were is just so far back, and that I mean, this is very fertile ground for anything new. And then as far as the tech space is that companies coming in has really been very, very eye-opening to all of the students. And it's just what we try to do is just work with local businesses that have come in recently, and work with the kids and just do presentations and help the kids just realize there is life beyond tourism. There's life, beyond working for the government. Is that these are the things that are there. The biggest challenge that we have, though, is that all the bright kids just end up staying in the States. They don't come back to the Virgin Islands. Is that life is just too easy in the States. Is that same day delivery from Amazon is unheard of. Is that an Amazon delivery takes a week. So I mean, there's modern conveniences that you'll never overcome. But I mean, the beaches, the weather, the sunset is those are things that you'll never see anywhere else either. So I mean, it's as far as changes is that there's absolutely there's industries that are coming in that are have never been here. But then on the flip side is that there's other conveniences that you've got to forego, and I guess that's the price of being on a Caribbean island.
Thank you. We need to start wrapping this up. Now, I hope that those who have watched and listened to this, give the jury who has picked these people, it's a jury of one, me. And this is only the very top of the pyramid. There's, as Salvatore said, there's another 4 million every year getting opportunities. But you have seen 4 examples of what people did with that opportunity. So I'm not going to try to actually summarize what you said. I trust the listeners here to take home what they saw and need and act on it, hopefully, to take some inspirations from these 4. So I want to thank you for joining. I'm going to pass the word to Salvatore, and I hope I see you on the next 3rd webinar. So for me, thank you very much. And Salvatore, it's on to you.
Thank you, John, and thank you to the. I learned a lot over the past 53 minutes. One thing I didn't learn, don't worry, is no, we still do not know who's going to be the next US president. So you didn't miss that while watching this interesting webinar. I learned a lot. I learned from Charles that you can really start a company with very few bucks. But even if you start small, you want to think big. And you want to create that box as a good architect like Andrej, but also thinking outside that box. Because you need to be a digital nomad inside first to be a digital nomad outside. And as Karoli is doing it, providing opportunity to talents all over the world. Because she believes, as we do, that talent is universal, but opportunities are not. And when you're looking for that talent, and you're looking and you become a successful entrepreneur, and you want to recruit great people, you want to recruit great people like Jennifer, who brings the entrepreneurial spirit in the company. So all of them have one thing in common. They have in common of being FERDs List honoree and being role model like Johan Andersen. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you at the next webinar. Goodbye.